It's Bobbbaaaay, and we back. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast. Today on the show, we got the young gunner, guy behind the lens, the nicest one out in the Midwest, Mason Castillo. How we doing, boy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad we can make this happen. What are you in town for? Why are you in Boston?
Working on a video project.
Working on a video project.
Yeah, just
With
for a
your
few
boy.
days.
With your boy. It won't be out by now, but people will see
they'll see
what's
it.
to come. They'll see what's to come.
Yeah, let's see it.
Who is Mason today? Where do you and how young is he?
Mason today, I'm 21.
21.
20 years young. I like creating stuff. Anything that I can create, photography, film, all that.
Anything that's creative.
Anything.
What about creative do you like? Is there like a certain thing? Like, is there?
I don't know. And I've been thinking about this like lately. When I was a kid, I didn't really think about it until I started doing photography. But when I was a kid, I was the kid that like played Madden, and I spent more time creating my uniforms than I did playing the game. And like I
You just
didn't
want
think,
it to look fresh.
Yeah,
like
I
the
just
best
wanted to,
guy on
like,
the field.
mess with my guy and make him look different ways, and like there's endless possibilities. Anything you create, you can. There's no limits.
Yeah.
No limits.
So I mean, there's little things like that in your childhood that kind of
Yeah.
hint at.
Yeah.
Like, I think back to when I was a kid, and there are certain things that make sense now to where I'm at today. I'm like, well, this connected to this connected to that. Like, this actually kind of like makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it till like 2 weeks ago. I was like, dude, I was that kid that just like took so much time just making my
Just to
uniforms.
make it look good.
And just, it's crazy.
Where'd you grow up?
Small town called Huron, Ohio.
Huron, Ohio.
Huron, Ohio.
Talk to me about Huron, Ohio.
Dude, not much to talk about. Lived in the same house my whole life.
Okay.
Same room. Haven't really moved out there, like moved around from Huron's. When I started doing photography, that's kind of when I started. I didn't really travel much before then, so
Yeah.
I was like,
You holding it down.
I'm
Somebody had to
holding
hold it down.
I'm holding it down.
And that's a small town. We were talking about that last night. It's 700, 800 people.
Yeah, I want to say the population's around like 700-800.
So what's
like that.
what's the closest like city to you? The big like a big
So
one.
like major city?
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland is an hour.
You can't say Cleveland too loud in Boston, man. We're not big fans of Cleveland right now. So you're an hour away. So you have access to a major city if there's opportunities within there, or if you wanted to branch out and kind of.
Yeah, I mean it's like an hour commute on the highway, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's,
So were there, if you're looking at your childhood, was there any like defining moment in your life that changed your perspective for good or for worse?
That changed my perspective?
For good or for worse?
I think, yeah, it was just probably like middle school, sports. I was, I was in sports for a little bit, and there's like, just how to treat people. There's certain, what is it called, cliques, and everyone is kind of like, biting at each other's neck. So I kind of like realized that's not the route I want to go. Try to treat everyone like, even if they have different interests, it's like, I don't know. It's just everyone should be treated the same no matter what they're into.
Yeah. And middle school is, when you said middle school, I'm instantly thinking back to those are the days. Everybody,
Dude.
it is cliques. Like it's hard to.
Yeah, dude.
I think it's hard to teach people that young to not form those cliques, but it happens.
Well, and like everyone would pick at each other. Dude. Like if you were different in any way, you were. And I had, I've had my, I've done a few picking, unfortunately.
I think we all. Not
my prouder moments.
You push and you shove. People,
Yeah.
they pick on you. You might hit them back with something, but
Yeah. Exactly.
at the end of the day, that's not who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were young and you're trying to do that. Were your parents like open to you trying new things? Were they more of structured, like this is what you're gonna do and you're gonna do it, or they kind of allow you to just be who you wanted to be?
Yeah, they've always been super supportive in everything. When I was younger, I was like really into sports, elementary, going into middle school. I played basketball, not my sport. Probably scored like.
Come on.
I think I remember. I probably scored. It was like 3 or 4 games into the season. I scored my first goal. Goal. Was basketball.
Soccer, basketball.
Yeah, my first shot, and like I remember like all my friends like geeking out because I was just not the basketball player, not my sport. But I played basketball, if you want to count that, football, baseball, a little bit of soccer when I was younger. But that's kind of who I was like in elementary and middle school, and then I started getting into like my parents were like super supportive through it, but I started playing video games like super intense,
Okay.
more than I should have.
What do you mean by that? Like what games? How intense were you getting into it?
Very intense. Like Call of Duty.
You had a clan?
Yeah, I had that whole clan thing going.
Okay.
I started making YouTube videos. That's kind of how that's honestly kind of how I got into like creating.
Okay.
I started with like YouTube, and I'd make videos of me playing video games, like not like first person, but like I'd record my game, and I would do like something cool on the game, and I'd like make
like a montage.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm familiar with the
I
game.
didn't know
I
if
used
you,
to
like-
play Halo. I used to play Call of Duty. I was out there
Halo's the
shooting
big
them
one.
down. I was nice, dude.
Yeah, so I used to make montages and stuff like that. I gained a little bit of following on YouTube. Got a partnership with YouTube, all that. Did that whole I was it was in like the earlier stages of YouTube, but that was actually kind of like my first job. I would get paid. I was like a part of a clan that made montages and stuff like that, put them up on YouTube, and we would get like monetization. We'd get certain checks each month from, you know, the videos that we contributed to it. So I mean, I was probably getting like $250, $300 a month, which was like, for like, I was like 15, a sophomore in high school, I think. So for at the time, I was like, dude, you know, I'm cashing out.
I was right now, like $250.
Yeah, I was like, yo, $250, $300 for the whole month. Are you kidding me?
When most parents are telling you like stop playing video games, go outside and hang out with your friends, I have a check.
Yeah,
Mom, Dad, I'm making money doing
exactly.
this
I
now.
even had to like sign up on PayPal. I had to be like, I had to sign up under my brother's PayPal because I wasn't 18, and to get paid you had to be 18. So I was like, yo, Dom, can you hook me up? But no, they were always super supportive in anything I do, which is, you know, I can't ask for better parents. But I don't know if like, I'm surprised how supportive they were through the video game stage of my life, which was dope. So
was that like a long-term thing, or is that just kind of quick?
I started playing like video games relentlessly in like 6th grade, and that's when I went from playing a bunch of sports and hanging out with like all my sports friends, kids I met through sports, and then I just like dropped off hard, kind of quit all sports, went into, you know, playing video games excessively. I didn't really start doing YouTube videos for like a couple years after that, I want to say, but that kind of, yeah, I just went from that kid that was like known for being in sports, like a jock or whatever, whatever.
Jock.
Yeah, a jock, whatever it is. But I went from doing that, and then I got into the, you know, YouTube side of things and kind of focused on that. I did that up until like on and off up until like junior year, senior year of high school.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you're cranking along.
Yeah, I was.
I think a lot of people go through that stage of playing games. You know, like I was never on a clan. I never was professional. Don't get me wrong. I was probably nowhere near as good as you, but I tried World of Warcraft. I tried all those games, but I got out of it. I feel like at the perfect time. It was like when I was going into high school, and I was like, I was still playing a little bit, but let me take that back. Go back. I was playing through high school, played a little bit of sports as well, but then when I went to college, that's when I was like, all right, I think this is the time.
Yeah.
Like, we're moving away from home. Let's leave this here. Like, I don't need to be sitting in my college dorm room playing anymore. Let's go have fun, see what college is all about. And that was like my transition. But I don't know, video games, you look at people now that are playing on Twitch, as we were talking about. Like, you can make...
Yeah, I have a friend that does Twitch and he games. It's his full-time career, which is tight. So dope. But yeah, gaming has become just this crazy platform for people to use now.
Yeah.
Which is
you can make a living off of, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is something you're the most grateful for then? You know, you said your parents, they're open to you.
Yeah, definitely my family.
You know,
for
doing
sure.
that. But is there like a certain, I'm going to say, I guess you could say your family is what you're most grateful for, but looking back, is there anything that, maybe a moment that you would say was like, I don't know. What are you most grateful for? How about that?
Most grateful?
Up until high school. Like,
So like, okay, so just being like my family being supportive with anything, I could say tomorrow that I want. Like I was talking to my parents a few months ago about going skydiving, and they're like, "You're nuts. Like you're crazy."
Like,
But they're like, "Go for it." I mean, why not? So
Yeah.
they've been super supportive through everything. So I'd have to say, my
Yeah.
family for sure.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get your parents to support you, that's sometimes the only thing you need to kind of.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't need the validation from anybody around you. It's more of just like the people that your parents, like those are the ones that are supporting you and what you do and whatnot.
Exactly.
You didn't go to college.
I
did?
did. I went to a community college.
Okay.
So, went for probably about half semester.
Half a semester.
Semester and a half, something like that. Half a year.
Half a
2
year.
semesters.
So you went for a full semester.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm out.
I did not like it.
Why?
At the time, I was trying to get a degree in photography and film, and for that time, I was doing like little videos and like photos every once in a while. Nothing crazy, but I was just in class and my heart wasn't in it. I was like, this isn't for me. Like I was never really the stellar student, and college just wasn't for me. I might go back in the future once I find out like what to do on the side of photography and film, but I didn't really want to pursue a degree in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And photography.
And photography.
So you were actually going to school for photography. It wasn't like just the general.
Yeah, and it was like a community college, so it wasn't photography film school or anything like that. So it was just kind of basic classes, but that's what I was going for. Yeah. The time.
I mean, it's good to have the education, but then sometimes it's if you're not actually into it, it's like
I feel like with photo and film, it's all about the work you put out. Like I was in for like a semester, and I didn't really learn too much in that class. Kind of just the basics, like how to turn on a camera,
hit this
button, change this setting. So like
all that stuff is on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like that's what amazes me.
Yeah. So ever since then, everything's been self-taught. Like, so if I can get, I'm not anywhere where I need to be yet, but if I can get this far self-taught, I'm confident that if I put in the work, then
you're eventually gonna get to
where
everything
will fall into place.
So. Yeah, man, it is honestly crazy how much you could just learn with the patience of the internet, and so many of the guests that have been on this podcast it's all from YouTube. Like YouTube gets almost all the credit. A lot of them have gone to college, and there's been a lot that dropped out halfway through or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying everybody should just drop out of college, but it is crazy to me how many of the guests that come on here dropped out or just didn't go at all because they realized they didn't actually need the education. When did you actually realize this passion for photography then?
Well, I had a camera in high school. Just a basic camera. I used it to film myself for like my video game videos. So I had like I used it as like a webcam or whatnot. But my dad actually, and it was crazy because before at the time it wasn't something I was like pursuing. I was like, that's not for me. Photos not for me. Videos not for me. I'll make my video game YouTube channel things and I'll take off with this. Like that was my thought process. And I kind of had like a weird like thought towards photography. I was like, I don't really know how someone can get into that, which is crazy to think about now because it's all I do.
It's all you do.
But before, I was just like, I don't get, how can you look at a photo and like feel this way, or which is like, I can't believe I was thinking that. But my dad had a business trip in Colorado, and I had been to a few states outside of Ohio. I visited family in Connecticut and all that, but he was like, why don't you come along and you can take pictures of the event for us? So it's like, sure, of course. So we flew out there and just kind of took photos of, the event, and then we went like driving up the mountains, went to Pikes Peak, all that.
That's
so
dope. That's dope.
Started doing photo there, and at that point I was like, this is tight. I was like, I like this. Like that was the main turning point and what got me into photography. So
just that one moment.
Just at the top of Pikes Peak, I was like, you know what Pikes Peak is?
Mm-mm.
It's I don't know the exact elevation, but it's like the highest point. It's
in Colorado.
So high. Yeah. So like you'll be there in the summer, and it'll be like, 70 degrees, and you drive up this hill. It takes like 45 minutes, I want to say, to get to the top of. You drive up there, and it's like 20 degrees snow, and there's wind blowing.
Such a
yeah,
change.
and
That
like
much of a change.
yeah, and if you're up there for too long, you can get elevation sickness. So you have to like, you're up there for like 20 minutes, and then you can start feeling like a headache coming on. Then you dip.
Wow.
But it's a huge It's like a huge, attraction.
Yeah.
Tourist attraction.
Everybody wants to stop in there and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's all it took just to get into it.
Yeah, that was that trip. That whole trip alone. I mean, I guess it wasn't that specific time on Pikes Peak, but that whole trip kind of ignited me. I was like, this is something
This is what I want to do.
Yeah, this is what I want to do.
How would you say, like, the art of photography has changed you as a person then? Because you were talking about how, if at first, like, I didn't know how, like, photos or, like, images could really, like, affect people, but now I do understand. So how would you say the actual art of photography?
Just the thought that anything can come out how you want it to. Like, you could give two people the same camera and the same lens, but you're going to get two completely different photos. So it's just like anyone can make anything that they want to. It's just, it all is how they want to, how they want to do it. And it's really hard to see two photos that are the exact same.
Yeah.
Like everything, like there's so many factors that go into a photo or like a film. It's just like, you can take the photo and you can edit it any way you want to. It's just, I don't know. It's so tight to me. It's really cool.
It's like unlimited possibilities.
Unlimited. Yeah, exactly.
It's funny you say you take one photo, you can't capture it again. Because even with Raw Notions, James, he'll take a picture. He's like not happy with it, wants to take another one. And it's impossible almost to recapture that same image. And I didn't realize kind of that until I started being surrounded a little bit more by him and like photographers like yourself, where you see him get frustrated, like, damn, like take it again. They're like, you can't. The person was there. This was this. I'm like, all right, dude, like
exactly. And
the
light was hitting this way.
Yeah,
like,
it's unbelievable. Yeah. That's so cool that at the end of the day, like you have complete control over that final image. Like there's no wrong or right way. You want to make it black and white, all blue. Like
yeah, dude, it's all you. Whatever you way.
Is there one image you're most proud of right now?
A photo?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I mean, you've shot a bunch of concerts. You've shot. I mean.
Man, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I started doing street photography first, kind of going around the streets. That's kind of how I started before I got into the whole concert photography thing. My favorite photo in street photography was a photo I took in Chicago with my brother. There was we were out at like midnight, and we were like super sketched out. We didn't know anything about Chicago. We were like, dude, this is sketchy. But there was a guy in an alleyway. You could tell he was like working the graveyard shift, like on his break or something. He's just posted up, leaning up against the wall, smoking a cigarette, and like you see the smoke coming
off the cigarette.
Yeah, you don't see the cigarette itself, but you see the smoke coming like right off like where he's at, and it's just him, and it's like dark out everywhere else, and he's just in this like one lit spot. And that's definitely my favorite street photo. Concert photo. That's a hard one. There was one I shot G-Eazy last summer.
Oh yeah.
On the Endless Summer Tour, and my settings were like all messed up. This was like one of the first concerts I ever shot. Not one of the first, but it's probably like my third concert I shot. And you get like 3 songs at the beginning of each set. So he walked over to me and like crouched down right in front of me and was like staring into my lens for like 5 seconds, like straight. And my settings was messed up, so I was like hurrying up and like trying to flip my settings, and like I fired one off, and he was like looking straight into my lens. That's probably my favorite.
He knew walking over. He's like, I'm gonna give this guy one opportunity of like a lifetime photo.
If I would have messed that up, I don't know what I would have done.
Probably tossed the camera, called it a day.
I probably would have thrown it away on the way out.
That's all it is, huh?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that photo. I think I have, because I remember seeing you had like a bunch of them on Twitter of like a bunch of G photos, and it was probably from that same exact shoot.
Yeah.
But that's fair. G-Eazy's probably, I would imagine, a pretty dope person to shoot.
Oh, for sure.
People might think you buy a camera, take a picture, throw on some effects on there, and then boom, you just have like this incredible image. What actually goes through your head when you're either like shooting a concert or you're shooting portraits? It's not that easy.
No, how many times I've heard someone say, all you do is point the camera and click, dude. That just like,
is that like a knife like to your heart?
Like,
it's just like a
dude, it's just
cutthroat.
like, ow. Like, that's the worst thing to hear as a photographer. But thought process, portraits, I'm definitely, you know, trying to work on. But like concert wise, concert photography is becoming more and more saturated. So there's like a ton of people now, and photos are starting to look similar to each other. I usually like to go in and try to create or like shoot something that just looks different. That's like my main, or like capture the environment, is like try to create something there's no guidelines to. Like a lot of people have guidelines. They're like, yo, you know, I got to shoot it like this, and I'll get looked at differently by other photographers if I use this effect. But just do what you.
You just have to do what you.
Yeah, do
actually
you,
please.
and everything else will fall into place. It'll turn out.
That's like a life gem right there.
Yeah,
not even photography, just like do you and
yeah, dude.
See whatever like actually, you know, works out. Is there anything that makes like your job easier then?
Good lighting. Good lighting. Anywhere. You could be shooting the coolest artist ever, and the lighting could be bad, and it's just like
it's your nightmare.
It's a nightmare. That's a photographer's nightmare, is the lighting. For sure.
I never understood how important it was until,
dude, it's so important.
That's it. Like that.
Yeah,
that is what you need.
That's what you need, is good lighting.
Fair.
For sure.
Fair. You went on. I met you through Who You Mac tour. For the people that are listening that don't know how we actually met, which was October of 2016. September?
Yeah.
Okay.
October.
October was a different tour. You know, I'm out here doing big things.
He's just out here moving.
September
all
I was
the
on
place.
one tour. October I was on another. You know,
Jeez,
just
killing
mind boggled. Mind boggled. How was that tour for you?
Crazy.
Crazy.
That was another life changing moment, because prior to that I hadn't really traveled much. Like the Colorado trip with my dad, and just based it like visiting family in different states, kind of on the East Coast. But that was definitely an eye-opening experience. And so taking a step back a little bit, the year before that was the first time I shot Huey. Like before that point, I tweeted him and I was like, you know, I see you have a show in Cleveland. Can I come out and shoot? He's like, you know, it brought me out for sure. That was the first concert I ever shot. Ever. That was what was the tour called? I want to say Things Change tour. It was a futuristic Cam Meekins. Futuristic Cam Meekins, TJ Hickey.
Okay.
That whole squad. So that was the first concert I ever shot, and I got backstage and everything. I was like, yo, this is tight. trying to keep it cool. And then at the end of the night, I show him the photos, and I don't know if there was something. I don't know. I show him the photos, and I believe their photographer at the time had to get off tour. I think it was Wazzy, maybe. He had to get off tour. He had to leave tour early, so he saw my photos at that night. He's like, dude, he's like, come back at 6 o'clock in the morning, and come on tour with us.
On the spot
that night.
This is your first concert.
This is my first concert I ever shot, and he was like, dude, we're leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning. We have to be, you know, whatever city they're going to next. He's like, be back with a bag packed, and I'll bring you on tour. Dude, I was, oh man.
You're hyped.
I was hyped, but.
So you jumped on the tour?
No.
Why not?
At the time, my girlfriend at the time, I was supposed to meet her parents that weekend. We had a whole thing planned. So they had the hotel booked and everything. So I wasn't gonna bail on them. You know, I wasn't gonna do that. So I was like, I'm sorry, dude, I can't.
Oh my God.
So at that point, and like when I told him that, I was like, am I ever gonna get this opportunity again? That could be the only time that I get offered to go on tour. I was like, but everything happens for a reason, and you know.
Yeah. At least you and the girlfriend are still together.
We're not still together. I don't regret it though. I don't regret it.
I'm not shaming on her. You know what?
No, not at all.
It's funny how things actually pan out though. I mean,
No,
obviously that's a huge opportunity presented in front of you. You're shooting your first concert ever.
Mm-hmm.
You go there with no expectations, but to be able to just do this, and
post
then
up photos.
that's a great example of how you don't know when things are gonna pop up, and then that happens.
Yeah, I don't regret it at all. I'm still in contact with her. We're still, we're still tight. So I don't regret.
But then it ended up working out because you went. So how did you line that actual tour up with him when he went back on the road?
Oh,
did he reach out to you and say, hey?
We were in contact for like on and off for like that year. Every once in a while, yo man, how's it going? And then a month before, I work a minimum like regular job. So a month before, he's like, yo, I'm going on a tour next month. Would you be down? I was like, dude, for sure. I was like, without a doubt, I'm down. So, yeah, that's how that happened.
What was the biggest lesson you learned on that tour?
Biggest lesson I learned? Jeez. Kind of just go with the flow. Like, there's just so many different things that would happen, and you just had to go with it. I mean, nothing ends up how you want it to end up.
Never.
There's always bumps, so just go with whatever.
Yeah. Especially when you're on the road like that. You guys are, you're in a new city every day.
Yeah.
Something pops up, camera lens probably breaks, or I don't know, something crazy, but
yeah,
there's a lot of things that are, I guess, unpredictable that you can't foresee. When people come across your photography, what do you want them to think and feel? Is there a certain type of, obviously you're capturing different images and you're doing different things within photography, but I would imagine there are photographers out there that when you click into their work, you kind of have, what to expect, what type of images or what type of, I don't want to say energy or feel.
Yeah.
Like, is there something you want people to feel or?
That's something I'm kind of still trying to figure out. I'm torn between having a certain look. So when you look at that photo, you're like, if you follow me, if you look at that photo, that's my photo. But at the same time, I think it's so tight to have just like every photo looks completely different. Like you look at this photo and you look at this photo and they're just two completely different photos in their own way. And I kind of try like making my concert photos look like they're not concert photos. That probably makes no sense.
Well, it does because I've seen your images, so for me it does.
Yeah, like
I think of the one with your
glance,
like Mac Miller. It's just like a white background that you wouldn't even know he was actually performing.
Yeah, so like at first glance, I want you to be like, not know that it's a concert photo, but of course like the person performing's an artist or whatever. But yeah, just try new things and make it look like something that's not what it is.
Yeah. So creating, but in a way that, I don't know, it's creating your own name or your own brand image or.
Yeah, I'm trying. We'll see.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
You mess around a little bit with video, obviously. Mm-hmm. That's why you're in town in Boston right now with the young Bobbbaaaay, Purpose in the Youth podcast. But if you had are you trying to balance 50-50? Like, is that the end goal of, you want to be able to go to clients and say, I can shoot photos and do video, or?
That's definitely the point I want to get at. Of course, it's hard to like, you can either be amazing at one thing or like okay at multiple things. But I hope to be able to get to a point where I'm like Gibson. That kid's dude. He just proved that statement I just made completely wrong. So take that back. Yeah, I want to get to the point where I can do photo and video. Be able to approach people and feel confident enough to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree that, yeah. It's hard because I think it's important to know a little about a lot, for instance, right? So there might be one thing that you specifically target and you know a lot of information about, but then you know a little about a lot of different things. Same thing as a passion. Like, clearly you need to be the best at photography or the best at video in order to continue to grow and like get bigger with these clients. But it's like, if you can grow with them, or do you just want like one shoot up versus the other one kind of like stay on the ground? It's like, what's the balance? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
I mean, it's possible. I think Gibson, obviously, for instance, he kills it.
He absolutely kills it.
But I don't know. I'm curious to see. I'm very curious to see kind of where you go with this in the next couple of years. And I also think what's cool about this podcast is documenting your story, because I think you have when we talked about this before, this is my opinion, you have had opportunities and you've executed. You just need bigger and more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you provide great products. It's just not everything is hitting right now.
Appreciate
but then all it takes is like one domino, and then boom, this person hits you up. This person, this person, this person. And then it just like keeps going. So
appreciate. Thanks for the kind words. But yeah, that's, you know, I'm forcing myself, not forcing myself, but like, I believe that when the time comes, it'll happen. Like, if this whole photo and video thing's meant to happen, then it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if not, then I don't know. I'll find something else.
Back to the video games.
Right. Yep. Back to the video games.
What's one thing that you think most people misunderstand about you?
One thing most people misunderstand about me. Man, that's a tough one. I'm not to be taken serious. Like, that came out wrong. Personality-wise, like, I'm getting to a point where, like, obviously professionally, you have to, like, maintain yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I come from a small town. People don't wear what I wear. People don't, like, we're still in the, like, camouflage and, you know, khakis, plaid shorts.
No.
We're still in that age. We're not, like, it's just starting to become a thing, but I mean, I can't even imagine how many times I got, like, flack for what I wear.
Really?
Yeah, like, just in the area, just, like, you know, I'll go to a gas station, there'll be, like, an older, I mean, I guess maybe it's a generation thing, but, like, an older person, or not older person, but, like, middle-aged, and they'll look at me like I'm, like, nuts. Like, but what I wear, it's normal in bigger cities. It's like, it's urban. Yeah, it's urban. It's normal. So I don't wear, like, anything super crazy, but, yeah, it's just, like, do what and we constantly change. Like, I might, you know, we evolve, but just do what you like whether it's hobbies, dressing, you know, clothes-wise. I was, you know, video games. Yeah. That's not a cool thing to do at all. Like,
it is cool. Don't say it's not, but it's just.
But, like, in high school, that was not like, I got so much. I don't know if, like, anyone knows this. I don't even know if like parents know this, but in high school I got roasted for the video game thing. And, like, at the time I was a lot more, like, I would handle it better now, but back then I didn't handle it good. Like, my gamer tag was, if anyone wants to look at my videos, go ahead. My gamer tag was Dare Cruz. So Dare was the team I was in,
okay, and
Cruz is my middle name. So I'd go into school and, like, that was, like, they'd be like, Dare Cruz, and, like, at the time I was like, I don't like that, like, and
so it was in a way of not. It wasn't a friendly manner.
Definitely, like, it definitely wasn't a friendly manner. Definitely wasn't a friendly manner. But so I got flagged for that. So you know, I kind of distanced myself from some friends I had that they were jocks into sports. I was the kid that played video games and, like, created stuff. So I was like, I kind of became sort of an outcast in high school. And then I actually, like, I got to the point where I was like, I'm done with this. I transferred schools.
You transferred schools?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. For a year, though. But I transferred schools because I didn't want to be known as that kid.
Holy,
like,
this is a big bomb. You transferred schools because you weren't comfortable.
I was not comfortable. Like, yeah, so I just, like, the whole video games thing, people, like, saying, and, like, now, if I would be put in that position now, I'm confident enough where, like, I would be like, yeah, dude, that's me. What's up? But, like, back then I was like, dude, like, I don't like this. And so that's probably one of the biggest moments in my life that kind of made me realize, like, do you, who cares what others think. Yeah, so I transferred schools junior year.
Wow.
Junior year, I like.
What did your parents like? How did you bring that up to them? Did you
don't
tell
know.
them?
I honestly don't remember if I told them that's why I was transferring schools or not. But I like the school I was transferring to was like a vocational school, so it had like you didn't take 9 classes in a day.
Yeah.
It was like you take 3 classes, you take 2 academic, and then you have a lab that you could do. Mine was VCT, which was visual communications technology. So it was like photography, graphic design. Like, so I transferred that, and I was a little bit interested in that at the time, not too much, but I just told them, I was like, yeah, this might be something that I want to, like try. But my main reason for leaving was like,
that's crazy,
dude. But I ended up going back my senior year.
You transferred there for a year and then went back.
Yeah.
Why?
Just because at that point I kind of realized I was like, it is what it is. I was trying to like recreate myself, and I didn't want people at the new school knowing what I did. So that was my main reason for switching. But I wanted to try to like make myself whatever I wanted it to be, but that's not who I was. So I was like, you know what? I'll transfer back and do my thing if people don't,
So were people, when you got back, still like hitting on you about that?
I mean, like a little bit. Like some people didn't let go of it. And like some of the people that gave me like crap for it back then, I'll occasionally get a DM be like, dude, I saw I saw you've been on a few tours. That's tight. And like, congratulations, man. Proud of you. And I'm just like, I try not to hold grudges, but, and we were young. So, that might be part of it, but it's just, it's cool. It's a cool feeling seeing like, I was getting crap for these things in high school.
Yeah.
And now they're like, almost congratulating me. So
it's funny how things change.
Yeah. Things definitely. I mean, I wish I would have realized it sooner and not transferred and just been okay with like whatever.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. So, but just do you. And
I think it's important not to hold grudges and be the bigger person and kind of if they if they DM you, like, reply. But
for sure.
I also am a big believer of like
I won't forget it, but
never forget how somebody once made you feel, whether it was like for good or for worse.
Yeah, and I rekindled some of those friends. Like, I'm friends with some of them now that like, and some of them were my close friends, like when I did sports. So, and then they started picking on me. They just became the thing to pick on me. But I'm tight with some of them now. So, but it's just not something you really forget.
People used to pick on me because I had a big head and my body was smaller. I mean, because I grew into it. They always like would say like, "Oh, you grew into your head," and I'm like, I look good now. Everybody wants a piece of the pie, but they're not getting any. But they always used to call me like the big head or something. Random people too. Oh, jeez. I mean, I was younger and I definitely let that eat at me, but I'm happy that I always kind of just told myself to just ignore it. But man, shout out to all those people calling me big heads. I'm out here doing big things with a big beard. Come at me, bro. That's all I gotta say. I had to add them for a second. So I'm happy that this kind of segued into this conversation, because what I wanted to ask you was, how do you think someone gains confidence? How does someone gain confidence in themselves?
How does someone gain? Wow, that's deep. You just have to like. I'm a major overthinker of everything, so like. Yeah, so you just have to like not overthink things, which I'm still trying to do, but just like you're who you are for a reason. Like, you were created the way you are to be who you are. Like, you don't try being something you're not, and everyone has flaws and everyone's different. So you have to realize that, like, even though you see someone else as them being confident, they might not be. Everyone has their own struggles, and you have to realize that people are going to like you for who you are, and if they don't like you for who you are, then they're not meant to be in your life. So just do your thing, and at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much easier said than done. I'm somebody that definitely overthinks almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then I try to get better and not I try to get better and not overthink stuff. I think that maybe I am just crazy but I also think it's just me being cautious and not wanting to either overstep my boundary.
Exactly.
It's like a safety net. Like I hate it, but I love it about myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm thinking so far in depth that it's saving me from making a wrong decision.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll backtrack and be like, why am I even thinking about this right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely that's something I struggle with. Like, I struggle with that a lot. So like, I keep saying like, jeez. Social anxiety is definitely a struggle of mine. So social interactions is not severely like struggling, but I think of every single aspect. Like before I have a conversation with someone, I think like, how is this going to be interpreted? Or like, what do I say next? So that's something I've kind of struggled with most of my life, honestly.
That's good though. You're thinking before you speak.
Yeah.
But what do you mean by that though? Go keep going with me on this. Like,
What
do you
I
not
mean
like
by-
being in a crowd of people?
Yeah, so-
do you overthink when you're meeting somebody for the first time?
Everything.
Is this when you're even just around your best homies?
So, and that's, yeah. So sophomore year of high school, or like in high school, I couldn't even go to our local festival. Like, there was just a bunch of people. Like, at the festival, a bunch of people came in from different cities, so it was a bigger festival. So there would probably be like, I want to say like 2,000 people at the festival. I couldn't walk through that festival. I would just like, I did not want to go just because there's so many people. And I was like, this person's looking at me, that person's, I was really self-conscious. But even today, luckily I've overcame that portion of it, because now, like, if I would have done photography back then and somehow have gotten on a stage to shoot a show, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like, the thought of me being on stage now, like if I'm shooting from behind or whatever, blows my mind, because high school me would freak. Like, I couldn't do, like, class presentations for me were like, the worst. Like, I had like 14 students or classmates in my class, and I would be thinking about that class presentation all day, and it would eat at me. So that was definitely something I've overcame. Like, the mass amount of people, I'm used to it now because I go to concerts, and it's definitely toned down a lot. But yeah, even just meeting people for the first time is super hard for me, just because I've always been that quiet kid growing up and trying to work on it. But meeting someone for the first time for me is like a process for sure. Like, I think about it. If I know I'm meeting them, I think about it half hour before I meet them. I'm like, how is this going to go? But that's definitely, and especially in this industry, that's something I need to work on. Like, you can't be that quiet. Well, I mean, you can. There's nothing saying you can't be that quiet person, but I definitely have to work on meeting people for the first time. That's definitely my struggle.
Yeah. Not only in that instant, but I think this helps with a lot of what just happens in life, is being present. Only being worried about what you're doing at this very moment. Not worrying about meeting that person in 30 minutes, that presentation at the end of the day, that festival that's happening next week that everyone's going to, but I don't think I'm going to go to. And it's much easier said than done, and it's something I've been working at almost every day for like the last year to get better at, is just being present. Worrying about what I need to do at this very moment, 1 hour at a time, or one item off the list. Go to the gym. That's all I'm focused on. When I'm at the gym, I'm worried about being at the gym.
Yeah.
And then I get back, and then I'm working on a podcast. That's all I'm focused on. And just taking it one thing at a time. And that's helped me a lot, and I think it would help anybody that's listening that has maybe the same type of social anxiety. But it is unbelievable that you went from the one spectrum to the complete opposite of being on a stage in front of 2,000 people.
It's still,
you're not the center of attention, the main act, but you're still moving around, and people clearly can see you.
Yeah, that's still, like, I still think about that every time I shoot a concert. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I overcame that. I'm still working on it, but I overcame that portion of it, and that blows my mind.
So was there like a one? What gave you the confidence then to finally get this moving?
I used to be like severely overweight, like heavy set, and I mean, we can always be in better shape, of course, but that was when I transferred schools. So, I keep on backtracking, but when I transferred schools, that year that I left, I was very overweight. I went to this new school, and actually no, I was still overweight at that new school, but I went. Dude, every year meshes into each other anymore. But and then I came back senior year, and at the beginning of senior year, like my whole plan was I was going to go away to this school, completely reinvent myself, be this new kid, get in better shape, and just be this person that I wanted to be. But go back to school, transfer back to my original school senior year, still super overweight, and then I just focused on myself for a couple months, hit the gym, cut out all the my eating habits. I cut out all those eating habits.
You've been eating Five Guys since you've been here. Like it doesn't seem that it's changed too much, but
all right, yeah, it's still something I need to work on. But yeah, I just cut out all that, and then I cut down a lot in weight. I even had like teachers asking me. Like I had a teacher pull me aside, and they were like, I lost like 50 or 60 pounds.
That's
in like
a lot of weight.
2 or 3 months.
That's a lot of weight.
I had a teacher pull me aside, and she was like, had a serious conversation, and she's like, "Are you sick? Like, do I need to contact someone? Are you ill?" I was like, "No, I'm good." Just trying to prove myself. But
and that was the step forward of making you a little bit more confident, I guess.
Yeah, that definitely helped. And that was, the portion of my life where I started being okay with going in public more, or like festivals. I mean, they were definitely still a struggle, but that definitely helped for sure.
It's unreal. That's unreal. I didn't think we were gonna get. I didn't have any idea about this, and even the beginning of the podcast. We just took it through high school. You're like, I did this, did that, and then back to it. But that's crazy. That's unbelievable. And clearly, it's great to see that you've been able to overcome it, even though, like you said, it is something that you're working on daily to get better at. I think there's always something we're all trying to get better at, but it's just the persistency of taking it one day back to the present, one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. Is there a question you wish people would ask you?
Wow, is there a question I wish people would ask me?
Take my photo, bro. Do this, do that. But is there a question that you wish somebody would just one day come up to you and be like, Mason, tell me about this, or?
Man, that's tough. I've never thought about. That's a tough one. I don't know. There's a lot on the surface that you don't know about people. Like sometimes I wish we could just go from like, of course, small talk's a thing, but like imagine just walking up to someone and being like, "What's your biggest fear?" Like I saw a video on this a while ago, but like just skip the first interaction, skip the small talk. "Oh, how you doing, man?" "Good." Like just imagine going straight to like, what's your biggest fear? What's your biggest, like, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to turn into in 5-10 years? That would be, I mean, of course that's not like a normal thing. That's not like a general thing you ask someone off the bat, but I definitely think it'd be cool to the question was what I would want someone to ask me.
Mm-hmm.
What purpose? Like, what's your purpose? Like, and I'm still trying to, it's something I still want to figure out. But like, I'm a huge believer we're all here we have a reason. Like, you weren't just made to work and then die. Like, that's not what we're supposed to be here for. We have a greater purpose, whether it be, tons of different things. I can't even name them all off, but there's definitely a reason you're here at this time. You're here at this time. We have a purpose. There's something we're supposed to be doing. We just need to find it. I don't know if that answered your question.
It does. It does. I'm glad you said that too, because that's one thing I've learned from driving Uber is to completely skip like small talk. It happens very quick.
Yeah, I still do it all the time. It's just something I still small talk a lot,
yeah.
But like you said, Uber, I bet you
Uber,
just jump
it's taught
into
me in just the podcast has taught me to just skip that.
Yeah.
Like,
because you could become best friends with a stranger just by walking up to him and like just skipping the awkward beginning.
Oh, like where are you from? Just like get right into the nitty gritty of like
Yeah,
what
because you
motivates
already
you,
feel
what
like
fires you up.
Yeah, exactly. You already feel like you know them. Like if you just skip it and go to something you would be talking about with your best friend, you could skip all that small talk and feel like you've known this person.
Those are the
forever.
conversations that can really pick you up in a day when you're feeling down, or I don't know. That's why I started this fucking podcast, like to have these conversations that I think a lot of people are scared to have. I swear like a sailor sometimes. Yeah. But I don't know. It's really kind of how this stemmed, like the podcast itself, because there's conversations that I would want to have with people and really get to know, like the deep and down, what motivates them, how do they get here. Mm-hmm. So why not just record it and then put it out there for people to like check out. So if you could skip small talk, it's ideal.
Yeah.
This is the part when I reverse the role. You can ask me any one question. It could be about something we talked about. It could be something you want to know about your boy Bobbbaaaay. It could be anything you want to know. One question.
Man, I was gonna ask like a super basic one, but I feel like I want to ask.
You can't ask a basic one. You told me you don't like small talk.
Yeah, you're right. I messed myself up with that one. What's your ultimate end goal? Like now with the podcast, like what? It's tough.
Is that the question? What is my ultimate end goal?
Yeah, what do you want to become?
I constantly think about all this all the time. Just like
I have no idea either. If that's what.
And I don't think you need to know. I don't think it's that's what makes it fun. But the goal for the rest of my life, I don't know the end goal, but the process of getting to that end goal, the journey of it, is to be able to wake up every day and actually be happy with what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. It does not matter. I don't care if the podcast ends and we transition to something else, or it does not matter. As long as I'm waking up and I'm loving what I'm doing, and if it's 15-hour days, I'm with it. I mean, that's what I'm doing now. And I love what I'm doing. Like my days, by the time I go to sleep, I pretty much can fall asleep pretty quickly because it has been such a busy and productive, or just such a useful day, that by the time my head hits the pillow, there's no time for Netflix. I just pass out. And that's almost all the time, like every day. And it's what it's been like since I got to Boston officially. Been living here since last September. Is just this commitment of working as much as I can to get myself ready for the biggest opportunity that could happen at any moment. And as the months got, this was like my first full year of working now that I was out of college. And I was thinking about it earlier this morning in the gym. Like the person that I am right now, the work ethic has so much improved than where I was 6 months ago. Like going harder than I was. I was going maybe like, 50 miles per hour. I feel like I'm going like 90 right now, and I still want to go faster. I just like I'm a workhorse because I can't live with the fact of knowing that that I chose to do this and fucking watch all this Netflix and sit on my ass and then go out and go to the club every Friday and Saturday night and spend all that money. If I hadn't done that, maybe this would have happened. I can't live knowing that. Yeah. So I can live with going 110% all in, putting all my chips in on what I'm trying to create. And if it doesn't work out, I'm so okay with that because I know I literally put it all on the line.
Exactly.
So if I'm able to wake up every day and actually love what I'm doing and like what day of the week is it right now? It's Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday.
Like this is what I'm saying, dude. I have completely lost track of days of the week. I mean, I'll wake up and be like, okay, I got to do this, but they all feel the same. Sunday feels the same. Wednesday feels the same. And I'm very fortunate. I'm grateful. This is not, I don't think a lot of people can, maybe not a lot of people can actually say that. And I'm very grateful and happy that I can say that because I actually love what I'm doing. And I keep saying I love what I'm doing, but I don't know how else to say it. Like, I just put all my energy into what I'm trying to do and giving it my best. Let the world like play it out, and then as long as I love what I'm doing, that's all that I give a shit about. Like, I just want to enjoy it. I did those internships and jobs in high school where you drag, you clock in, and it's like, even if a 6-hour shift feels like 12 hours.
Yep.
Like, I can't live that life at all. I just won't allow myself to. I don't know. So the end goal is just, I want to be in control of my time, but in the sense of working a lot. Like, I'll do it. I'll work as much as I need to. And just the end goal of just knowing that I can look back and I tried the things that I wanted to try. And I wasn't hesitant. And I wasn't not confident enough. And that I would 110%. Like, that to me, I can go out of this world knowing that, and of course helping people along the way, like having some type of an impact. I don't want to be sitting in a mansion and nobody give a shit about me because I just did it all for myself. Like, that's not the goal.
Yeah.
Like, impacting people along the way and trying to document and show my process of, look, I'm an Uber driver. Like, I can't say it enough because I want people to realize that that's me. Like, that is me right now in 2017. Whatever today's day, July.
It's August.
Wow. I don't know months anymore. I don't know months. I'm moving to LA next month. I should know this. Anywho, just enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
Trusting the process, enjoying the journey. I could literally spend a podcast talking about this right now, so I won't. But
I might have to cancel my Netflix subscription
yeah.
after this.
I'm not at Netflix either. Like, I get it. I've watched Bloodline. Shout out to you guys. I've watched everything. But it's just time and place.
Yeah.
And it's consumption of knowing balance. Like, should you be watching like 2 to 3 hours of Netflix every day?
Hey, I'm guilty on the occasion.
I'm guilty though. That's what
sure.
I'm saying. And I'm not. Sometimes I feel like I come off as this arrogant like asshole who's just like,
well,
stop watching Netflix. Stop doing this. Like, just like it's
no.
just balance.
It's definitely important. Balance is huge. Time management is huge. But Netflix is good. I like it a little bit too much sometimes, but there's always going to be someone out there working, like in your same field, that could be working harder than you. So you have to outwork.
And that's what I think of too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always thinking there's somebody else out there right now that's working twice as hard as me.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I can work harder than them, and so be it, then I'll beat them to that final destination. Picture frame on the wall. Right here.
Ooh.
Little right here.
Am I going to be hanging up in your room?
Maybe.
Sweet.
Picture frame 10 years from now. What and who do we see within that picture frame?
10 years from now?
Yep.
Man, that's tough. Definitely a family for sure. That's important to me. I just want to be happy. Like you said, whatever I end up doing, I don't want to like wake up every morning like dread going to work. That's my absolute fear. That terrifies me because I can't even imagine like that feeling. And I've had that feeling. I still have that feeling, but hopefully I'll get to the point one day where just genuine happiness is my goal in 10 years. Everything else changes. Your job will change, your career path might change. Like, everyone's career path changes so quickly sometimes. So all that will change. And I don't know if I'll be touring, like a touring photographer in 10 years. I don't know if I'll be doing like documentary style videos for who knows what or anything like that. But genuine happiness is definitely my 10-year goal for sure.
That's the key.
It's key.
Where can people find you on social media if they don't already follow you?
Mason X Castillo on everything.
Spell it out.
MASONXCASTILLO on Twitter and Instagram.
Slide through his DMs, ladies and gentlemen. Say what up to the young Mason. Last question for you before you fly out of here. Back to Ohio, back to the motherland. What 2 to 3 pieces of advice would you give to somebody that is trying to find their passion, trying to find their purpose, hasn't necessarily found it, is stuck, what would you say they do?
Try new things. Like, you're not going to find your passion or whatever I got lucky. Like, I don't know. I got lucky because it almost fell into my lap for me. Because I went from 1 minute, I was so confident. Like, I wanted to be like an entertainer, or like, not really an entertainer, but like, I had this small mindset of like, yo, this video game thing is going to take me through I didn't think it was going to take me through my whole life, of course, but I was interested in creating things, but I didn't know what I wanted to create because video games wasn't going to last forever. It won't last forever, but maybe it will last forever. I don't know. But that one trip kind of just placed it into my lap for me. So just be open to new experiences. Don't limit yourself. Just try new things. And just whatever happens. And I believe at some point, everyone, maybe not everyone does, but that's a tough one, dude. Yeah, just be open to new things, and everything happens. I'm such a true believer that everything happens for a reason. Like, and I look back on my life and like, this thing happens, and this happened because that happened, and it's kind of just like a constant flow of things happening for certain reasons. And at the time you think, like, you overthink and you're like, wow, this just happened, what am I going to do now? And then another door opens soon after. So it'll come. Everything falls into place. So
That's it. Mason, thank you for coming on the podcast, my man. What's up, guys? It's your boy, Bobbbaaaay. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel right here in the button below. Subscribe, as well as leave a 1 to 2 sentence review in the comment section below. We'll catch you guys next time.